Hello, welcome to a kind of reading challenge vlog, I guess. I'm not really sure whether I'm going to end up doing a reading challenge with this or not, but by the time you're seeing this, I will have already launched Ponderful Books with my sister, which I will link the announcement video for up there, and I will link our shop down in the description. It's a personalised book recommendation service where we pick a book for you and send it along with some other fun goodies. And whilst I was doing market research for it, I found this company called the Beautiful Book Company that sell a similar kind of thing but without the items and slightly more expensive. So they have this thing called their bespoke book hamper, which is £65, and you get 6 books which they pick for you based on a brief, and then you also get a print, 3 bookmarks, 3 book plates, a gift card with a handwritten gift message, and a notebook, I think. And I kind of fancied trying it out. It's a little bit market research, it's a little bit just fun for me and for the channel, so I am putting together my briefing right now, and I figured I might as well tell you about it. So they ask for your name and age and reading preferences. So I've said my name, Sophia, and age 30 because nearly, but when I'm filming this I'm not 30 yet. While you're watching this I might be 30 already. My birthday's on the 5th of March. And I've also linked my story graph which lists all of the books I own. So, favourite genre, high epic fantasy, enjoy romance, enjoy challenge, I might just take that out, enjoy competition tropes, any age range, dislike historical fiction, enjoy books with racial and LGBT diversity, enjoy both series and standalones. Favourite authors are Brandon Sanderson, Maria V. Schneider, Alice Oseman and Lauren James. Prefer fast-paced books with straightforward writing styles, no preference on length of book, not keen on poetry or essays. And I think that's all the space that I have. You only have 500 characters. I think that's a fairly good summary of me as a reader. You do have the option to include a gift message. I am not going to include a gift message to myself. That would be a bit weird. So yeah, shipping is free, so that's good. I don't have a promotional code, so I'm going to check out. Okay, order placed. So like I said, it's a little bit market research, it's a little bit just something fun for me to do and also to film, and also it's a little bit of a test out for you so you can see if this is the kind of service that you might enjoy. And if you think it is, then once again, Wonderful Books linked in the description. I obviously cannot send myself a Ponderful Books box because that would be pointless. I'd basically just be choosing myself a book, which I do all the time anyway, so this is kind of like to give you an idea of what kind of thing we're doing also. And when the box gets here I will unbox it with you and we'll see what books they've sent, and if I like the sound of them maybe this will turn into a reading challenge as well. It's 6 books, so I don't know if I'll necessarily read all 6. Maybe I will, and this video will just be ridiculously long, in which case nothing new there. My videos are always way too long. And I'm going to stop blathering on now and see you when the box arrives. Hello. Okay, it is now here. It's been quite a while since I filmed the last clip for this vlog. It's now the 8th of March. There were some technical problems. It's fine. Usually your box would arrive quicker than mine did, but they couldn't access my story graph initially, so I had to, and they asked me to reconfirm it, and then it got stuck in my spam, so it was a whole thing. We probably lost about a week and a half because of all of that. But it's here Now, and once they got access to my Storygraph, it was really, really quick. And I was glad that they kind of waited until I gave them that access, because I own a lot of books already and I've read a lot of books already. So we are going to find out what books they sent me. I really hope I don't have any of these already. I have all of my owned books marked on Storygraph, so hopefully not. And I'm really interested to see if I've heard of any of these, if any of them were already on my radar, if, you know, some of them might already be on my TBR. These might all be from my TBR on Storygraph, so let's see. I'm really, really excited. There should be 6 books in here, so let's find out what they are. Oh, cute! They're all wrapped. That's so sweet. So it comes with a card. It's blank inside. This one says, "So please, oh please, we beg, we pray, go throw your TV set away, and in its place you can install a lovely bookshelf on the wall. Roald Dahl, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory," which I agree with that entirely. And then we have 3 stickers or book plates, I suppose. It says "This book belongs to," and then there are quotes on them, also by Roald Dahl. "If you are going to get anywhere in life, you have to read a lot of books." So I'm clearly gonna get in lots of places. And then we have some bookmarks. So this one says "So many books, so little time." Oh, they both say that. And then there's one that says "To be continued" with lines on, which is super cute. I like that. There's also a print at the bottom, but I'll look at that later. So these are all paperbacks, I believe. This first one is a medium-sized one, so let's find out what it is. This is very exciting. Okay, I have not heard of this. So this is Blackwing by Ed McDonald, which looks like this. The Raven's Mark, Book 1. Only 3 kinds of people willingly enter the misery: the desperate, the stupid, and the greedy. The misery is a wasteland, a dangerous, corrupted frontier between the Republic and the Deep Kings. When traitors, thieves, and spies try to flee, they run for the misery, and often as not, it's Captain Ryholt Galharrow's job to bring them to heel beneath the fractured skies, provided they haven't already fallen prey to the twisted creatures that inhabit the shifting, polluted sands. It's a deadly place, even for a man of Galharrow's experience, but it's a necessary place because the Republic's only other defence against the Deep Kings is Null's engine, a weapon of incomparable power that protects the wasteland's border, and that final defence may just have failed. Interesting. So definitely a fantasy. It looks like, from the cover, it looks like it's probably young adult, and I think from the font inside it looks like it's probably young adult, but as I say, I've never heard of this before. At least I don't think I have. So that is a great start, a nice fantasy. Can't go wrong with a fantasy, can we? So the next one is a little bit more on the chunky side. It's still a paperback, but I feel like it's got French flaps on it. So let us see what we have. I love this wrapping. Cute. Aha! Okay, this one I have heard of. So this is Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James, and this is an adult fantasy. I think it might be standalone. I don't think it's part of a series, and this is a really nice edition. I haven't seen this edition before, I don't think, but like I said, it's got the French flaps on either side, and I've heard that this is a very strange book, but I'll read you the synopsis. The child is dead. There is nothing left to know. Tracker is a hunter, known in the 13 Kingdoms as one who has a nose, and he always works alone. But he breaks this rule when he joins a band seeking a lost child. His companions are strange and dangerous, from a giant to a witch to a shape-shifting leopard, and each hides their own secrets. As they follow the boy's scent from perfumed citadels to infested rivers to enchanted darklands set upon by murderous foes, Tracker wonders, who is this mysterious boy? Why don't people want him found? And crucially, who is telling the truth and who is lying? So that does sound really, really interesting. I've been kind of put off by it because I've heard people say that the writing style is really different and strange, but I shouldn't let that put me off because it does sound like a really interesting book, and there are maps and things in here, so I quite like that. But yeah, I'm happy to add this to my collection actually, especially because this edition is beautiful and I'm really interested to see how I feel about it. Okay, so the next one, another slightly thinner option. Let's see what it is. Okay, this one is called Dragonheart by Peter Higgins, and I'd say probably again this is young adult. I would have thought. This one says, a quest to keep hope alive. The Great War ended with the death of the legendary dragon Vespertine. The last gambit failed, the wizards lost, and now a final sickness leaks into the earth. There is no stopping it. It unfolds south as a bruise upon the sky, and forces Kestrel and Shay from their small home days before their baby arrives. Now they wander, seeking food, seeking shelter, always trying to keep their daughter Hope safe. And then they come upon the dragon, Vespertine. It is colossal, it is humbling, it is still. But when hope starts to change soon after, Kestrel and Shay's promise to keep their daughter alive is set to become even harder and so much more important, for she is changing. Now she has the heart of a dragon, and while the dragon still breathes, there is hope for new life in this ending world. That sounds really interesting. I do enjoy dragons. It sounds a little bit like Aragon, like all of the dragons are gone, but are they? And this new character who's potentially going to be part of the dragons coming back into the world. So that's my guess. My guess is that Hope would be part of that process, but that sounds really, really interesting, and I've never heard of it. Okay, this is going really well so far. I'm impressed. Ooh, this next one is a chonker, and I do love a chonky book, I have to admit. Aha, okay. Yep, this suggestion totally makes sense. So this is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. So Susanna Clarke only has this and one other book out, and her other book is Piranesi, and it's right here somewhere. I read this in December, and look at the size difference between these two books. But this one is an epic fantasy story, and I have heard of it before. I've heard it is a little bit on the slow side, but it is an epic, and it is a standalone. So the year is 1806. England is beleaguered by the long war with Napoleon, and centuries have passed since magicians faded into the nation's past. But one remains, the reclusive Mr. Norrell, whose displays of magic send a thrill through the country. Proceeding to London, he raises a beautiful woman from the dead and summons an army of ghostly ships to terrify the French. Yet the cautious, fussy Norrell is challenged by the emergence of another magician. Young, handsome and daring, Jonathan Strange is the very antithesis of Norrell. So begins a dangerous battle between these two great men, which overwhelms that between England and France. And their own obsessions and secret dabblings with the dark arts are going to cause more trouble than they can imagine. Interesting. So yeah, I've heard of this. I've heard mixed things about this, but it's one of those books that I kind of thought, you know, I should probably give it a go myself at some point, and now I can. I'm interested to know how many pages this is roughly. So it is over 1,000 pages, 1,006 pages, but it's a smaller paperback size, so not as long as, say, The Way of Kings, which I managed to read that, so I'm sure I can manage this. We have 2 books left, so this is our next one. Ah, another one I've heard of. This one is Wild Girls by Rory Power. This one scares me because I've heard that this is pretty gross. Oh, I love the silky texture. They told us to wait and stay alive. I don't know if this has actually got... Yeah, it does. It has a synopsis on the inside, so you've probably heard of this before. Wild Girls, you will change, you might survive. It's been 18 months since the Raxter School for Girls was put under quarantine. Oh dear. Since the tox hit and pulled Hetty's life out from under her. It started slow. First, the teachers died, one by one. Then it began to infect the students, turning their bodies strange. Left to fend for themselves on their island home, the girls don't dare wander outside the school's fence, where the tox has made the woods wild and dangerous. As it seeps into everything, they wait for the cure they were promised. But when her best friend Byatt goes missing, Hetty will do anything to find her, even if it means breaking quarantine and braving the horrors that lie outside. And when she does, Hetty learns that there's more to their story, to the tox, and their life at Raxter than she ever thought possible. So this could potentially be a little bit triggering, but it does also sound really good. And I'm not squeamish particularly, and it is a YA book, so I mean, I'm a wimp, but it's not outside of the realms of possibility that I'll like that one. And then we come to our last book, so let's see. What do we have? Ah, okay. So we have The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh, which I have also heard of and have also been meaning to pick up and read for absolutely ages. So you would have me throw Shazi to the wolves. Shazi? Honestly, I pity the wolves. Every dawn brings horror to a different family in a land ruled by a killer. Khalid, the 18-year-old caliph of Khorasan, takes a new bride each night only to have her executed at sunrise. So it is a terrible surprise when 16-year-old Shahzad volunteers to marry Khalid, but she does so with a clever plan to stay alive and exact revenge on the Caliph for the murder of her best friend and countless other girls. Shazi's wit and will get her through to the dawn that no others have seen, but with a catch: she may be falling in love with a murderer. Shazi discovers that the villainous boy king is not all that he seems, and neither are the deaths of so many girls. It's up to her to uncover the reason for all the murders and to break the cycle once and for all. That sounds so good. There's a reason this has been on my TBR for ages. And so that's it. Those are the 6 books that they have sent to me. And I'm really impressed, actually. I think that those are all really good choices, and we do have 2 in there that I've never heard of, which is impressive considering how deep into the bookish community I am. And then we do also have the print that I mentioned before, this one. Oh, it's a Winnie the Pooh quote. I love Winnie the Pooh. Never forget, you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Winnie the Pooh, A.A. Milne. So I love that. That's really, really sweet. Now I have to decide where I'm going with this video, because I feel like it's not particularly useful if I just show you buying the box and unboxing the box. I feel like it's probably more useful if I actually read the books. But there are 6 of them, and one of them is like over 1,000 pages. So maybe this is just a really long form vlog where I don't kind of update you regularly, and this video doesn't go out kind of anytime soon. Sorry, my hair is really bugging me today. I really need a haircut is what I need. So yeah, maybe I read these in this video as well. and it just takes me a really long time to get it out into the world. But I think that's probably more useful than just going, okay, you've seen the books, thanks, bye. Like, it's probably not helpful. So I'm probably gonna read them, aren't I? And I'm gonna vlog the experience of reading them and let you know if I like the books. I'm insane. It has been a while since I updated this reading challenge. I don't actually know how long it's been, but it's been a while. And it's the last day of March just now, and I'm getting ready to start reading the books for this reading challenge. In fact, I actually started one last night, but I've only read the prologue and chapter 1, so barely anything, and I'm just realising now that that book is in the other room, and that is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. But I have the vast majority of these on audio now from my library, so I have The Wrath and the Dawn. I am on hold for Black Leopard Red Wolf, but it should come in any day now. I have Blackwing by Ed MacDonald. Dragonheart by Peter Higgins doesn't have an audio version, and the audiobooks for Wilder Girls by Aurora Power and Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke both came in on audio today. So I'm basically ready to go with these, and as I mentioned, I started The Wrath and the Dawn last night, but I didn't get very far because I had a headache, not because there's anything wrong with the book. But I am tempted to swap to this one and read this one first. I don't know why, I feel like this one's just calling to me, so I might just do that. I might just read this instead and maybe do The Wrath and the Dawn next. I don't know, we shall see. But the point is, I am starting the reading for this vlog, and I can tell already that this vlog is going to be so long. I might end up having to do it in 2 parts. We'll see. This is quite close, isn't it? Oh well. So I started Wild Girls last night. I don't have it with me just now, it's in the other room. I could go and get it, but I'm being lazy, so I'm not going to do that. And I got about 25% of the way in. I am listening and following along in the physical book, and I'm really enjoying it so far, actually. It is very creepy in vibe and feel, but it doesn't feel scary yet. There is body horror, like it's very mild body horror at the moment, but I think that it's going to get more significant as we move through the book. So if you're sensitive to that, not the book for you. Oddly, it's the least scary type of horror to me. I still feel like about it, but it doesn't kind of put me off at all. So it's a very quick and easy read. So I know that I'm listening to it, but it's one of those books where you feel really engaged with it really quickly, and so you want to carry on reading and you don't want to put it down, which is good. I ended up having to put it down because I needed to go to bed, but I don't think it's going to take me very long to finish it at all, because I really want to know what's going to happen, because it's got that kind of almost mysterious element to it, and I'm really interested to see whether I'll be able to figure out what's going on, because I feel like it's the kind of book where you will be given all the clues and you can figure it out. Whether or not I'll be able to is another question. As ever, my lighting choices are wonderful in my vlogs, but whatever. I finished Wilder Girls earlier today, and on the whole I liked it. I didn't like the ending. I feel like it's one of those kind of slightly, well not slightly, very open-ended type endings, and that is not my preference. I'm not a big fan of that. Let me see if I can get this lighting better. That's a bit better, isn't it? Oh, now the camera's wonky. How did that happen? There we go. Let me move it up a little bit. Okay, and my hair is looking, you know, fabulous, whatever. So yes, I finished this earlier and I liked it on the whole. I feel like the mystery elements didn't end up with as big of a wow, oh my goodness moment as I perhaps was hoping for. It didn't get more gruesome. I actually thought it got less gross as we went through the book. I mean, there were a few moments that were a bit like ew, but nothing major. That didn't bother me at all. So I did enjoy this. Do I think that it was a good recommendation for me? Yeah, I do actually, because I did enjoy this. I didn't love the ending, but you know, that's okay. And I felt very absorbed by the story. I read it very quickly, so I'd say that this was a good recommendation. I am now going to be reading a few other books for Chardathon, so I won't be carrying on with the books for this particular challenge immediately, but I'll be reading them throughout the month of April, so I will check in with you again when I start the next one. But for now, this experiment challenge, whatever it is we're calling it, is going well. Okay, I am on to my next read for this reading challenge. I have already started and I am reading The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. And this one so far I am 82 pages into. It is a retelling of, is it 1,000 Arabian Nights or 10,000 or something? Anyway, it's a retelling of that, and it's quite formulaic in nature, so I am kind of enjoying it, but it is a little bit, it reads like a fairy tale and it reads quite kind of separated from its characters, so we're not kind of getting a whole lot of character development just now, but we're also not getting a whole lot of plot either, because it is just, you know, Shahrazad has become the wife of the Emir, so king essentially, and he has this kind of like curse thing, which means that he has to marry a new woman every night, bed her, and then murder her in the morning. And she starts telling Shahrazad, the other main character, starts telling him a story, and every day when it gets to the morning she hasn't quite finished the story, so she persuades him to let her have another day so that she can continue the story that evening. And so it goes on, and that's the structure of the original fairy tale as well. And like I said, this reads like a fairy tale too, just kind of a very kind of typical retelling. So I'm interested to see what, if anything, Renee is going to do with that, and whether she's going to make any kind of changes to it. I am enjoying it, as I said, but it's not, you know, it's not huge on plot or on character development just now. It's really more of an atmospheric type read, which I'm not opposed to, but I need a little something more than that. So we'll see how it goes. As I say, I'm not hugely far into it yet. I am listening to the audiobook, which is very good so far. So sadly I have DNF'd The Wrath and the Dawn. It just really wasn't working for me. I wasn't enjoying the storytelling, I wasn't connected to the characters, and I was vaguely interested in knowing what was going to happen, but not enough to put in the time that it would have taken to finish reading the book. So I just looked up a full summary for the book on the internet and read that, and even that I found boring, which just solidifies the decision. So far I have read Wilder Girls by Rory Power, which I enjoyed, and I have DNF'd The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh because I was bored, which is unfortunate. But there are still 4 more books in this for me to read, so hopefully I will get more out of those 4. But as ever, I'm going to take a break from this reading challenge now and read a different book for a different vlog, and I will come back to you when I read the next one. It is now the 11th of April and it is time to start this hunker chunk of a book. So I'm just flicking through this now, noticing that there are illustrations in this edition, which is kind of nice. Not tons of them, but there are a few. There are a few sprinkled illustrations, which is cute. I'm actually about to have dinner just now, and then I have some Charlottathon reading sprints at 7, which is in 45 minutes, so immediately after dinner. So I will be starting this during the sprints, and I guess I will speak to you about it once I have done those reading sprints, because hopefully I should get about kind of 50 or so pages read at least in sprints, depending on how productive we are. So we'll see. Here I am back again with the amazing lighting. Okay, I am 175 pages into Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I read 80 pages during the sprints last night, and I've just read another 95 pages, and it's too early to say that I love this book, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy the rest of it as much as I'm currently enjoying it, because I really am. I don't even know if you can see, but I have tabbed a few things, which is unheard of for me. I have a couple of things from the last sort of 50 pages or so that I want to go back and tab, and look, the thing is, I was really nervous to read this because I've heard that it is slow, and it is incredibly slow. I've nearly read 200 pages and not a lot has happened, really. I don't want to say nothing has happened, but not a lot has happened. But I am really enjoying it nevertheless. So it's written in a style that's very reminiscent of the classics, so it feels like Austen, it feels like Dickens, but it's more accessible. So it's almost like Bronte, but slightly more modern than Bronte. And I mean, that's right, isn't it? Bronte was before Austen, I think. I mean, Charlotte Bronte. Jane Eyre is the only Bronte that I have read. I don't even know why I'm looking it up. I could just pick up my copies, but... So Charlotte Bronte lived from 1816 to 1855. This book is set in the early 1800s. Gosh, she wasn't very old, was she? She was like 39 when she died. Sad. Life expectancies back then, not so good. Oh, so Jane Eyre was actually before Bronte. Anyway, it's kind of completely off topic. It's kind of like that writing style, even insofar as like some of the spellings are the same. So like if you read Austen, you'll notice that like choose, for example, instead of being spelled Choose, it will be spelled Chuze, and that is how Susanna Clarke is spelling things in this book, which is just interesting because it's set in that time period and it's being written like it's written in that time period. And I was also nervous about the fact that it's got footnotes, but I'm actually really enjoying the footnotes and I feel like they do add to the story. I did not like the footnotes in Nevernight, which is why I was nervous, but I like them in this. I think part of that is because the narrator of this story has that really like dry Britishness to them, whereas I just didn't find the narrator of Nevernight funny. I'm not comparing these two books at all. They're completely different books, like very, very different. I'm just trying to see if there's like an author bio in here. So I'm interested to know if Susanna Clarke is actually British. Yes, yeah, she lives in Derbyshire. That tracks. It reads like it's a British author. Is that a weird thing to say? I don't know. I'm getting so distracted because there's just a lot of things I want to say. And okay, so it's written in a classic writing style. What is this? Edwardian? Georgian. Yes, okay. So this is written in a Georgian style and slightly modernised to make it slightly easier reading, I would say. And it's very much a character study, and there's not a lot of plot going on, but I enjoy the characters. I enjoy the narrator, and we don't know who the narrator is yet, but I am enjoying the narrator, and I'm liking the writing, and I don't even care that nothing is happening. Normally, I feel like I would be bored, but I'm not bored. I'm really enjoying it. And I sound surprised because I am surprised, because this is not the kind of book I would normally, like, peg myself as enjoying, but I'm really enjoying it. And in some ways it kind of reads almost non-fiction, because it's all just so like, this is the way it was. It's like someone is writing a biography of these men. Now we've only just, this is what I mean when I say that it's slow moving. We're nearly 200 pages in and we've only just met Jonathan Strange. The past 160-ish pages have been with Mr. Norrell, and I don't even care. So yeah, I'm really liking it, and I'm really, like, it's late, it's 10:30, and I still just want to carry on reading. It's not going to be a problem for me to finish this book. It doesn't feel like a drag. I sat down and started reading at 8 o'clock, and I read for 2 hours straight without even realising it. Like, that's a good book. We were discussing this actually in the live show, in the reading sprints. That's a good book when the time passes and you just don't even realise. So yeah, I'm really interested to see where we're going to go with this. I don't think we're going to go very far, but as I said, we just met Jonathan Strange. I think I'm going to like him even more than I like Mr. Norrell. So, and also, can I just say that I just remembered I actually wanted to read you some of the bits that I've tabbed. Only the ones early on, it's not any spoilers, don't worry. So, so in this section, and this is 50 pages in, it's really not a spoiler, but if you don't want anything, then I guess skip ahead. So Mr. Norrell has just moved to London, and he says, "Indeed," said Mr. Norrell, much surprised. Mr. Norrell was particularly shocked by the smallness of the library, which could not be made to accommodate 1/3 of the books he considered indispensable. He asked Childermath how people in London housed their books. Perhaps they did not read, which, as someone who lives in London, is hilarious. And then, so this bit, he's at a party. This is just a few pages later. So he's at a party, and it says, "His fellow guests were occupied in greeting their friends, and as for approaching one of the servants and announcing himself, Mr. Norrell felt quite unequal to the task. Their proud faces and air of indescribable superiority unnerved him. It was a great pity that 1 or 2 of the late members of the Society of York Magicians were not there to see him looking so forlorn and ill at ease. It might have cheered them up immeasurably. But it is the same with all of us. In familiar surroundings, our manners are cheerful and easy, but only transport us to places where we know no one and no one knows us, and Lord, how uncomfortable we become." Relatable. And then, so he's still at the same party. "A tall screen of carved ebony inlaid with mother of pearl half hid. Ah, what bliss was this? A bookcase. Mr. Norrell slipped behind the screen, took down John Napier's plain discoveries of the whole revelation of St. John, and began to read. which again, relatable. So I just thought I'd share those with you because when I was reading them, I was like, it's me. I mean, same. Hi. So I finished Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell last night, and I don't really know how to talk about this book. I loved it. It was incredible. I totally get why people don't like it though, because it is very slow. It is very character driven, and I can see why people think it's boring and too long and so many other things. I see it, I really do. And I think that it's the kind of book that, you know, if you start it, you'll probably know fairly quickly if it's for you. It's written in a very Austen Dickens type style, which is interesting because it's set during the early 1800s, so it's written in a style reminiscent of that, but modernised enough that makes it, in my opinion, slightly more accessible than classics are. Not that, you know, Austen isn't already accessible. I think she's probably one of the more accessible classic writers that I've read from, at least. But this is slightly modernised. It still has that tone. It still has some of the spellings which I've mentioned before, but it's just more accessible in my opinion. But it's still a very specific kind of writing style, and it's still going to be clear to you right from the beginning that it is slow and it's meandering. And I've said before that not much happens, and I kind of stand by that, but I also kind of don't, because when you're reading it, it feels like you're just reading about these people's lives and things are just happening, but you don't necessarily appreciate the importance of those things until much later in the book. But nothing that is happening is irrelevant. It's all leading somewhere. And I was just that I didn't have so much time this past weekend to read this as I wanted to, but the last kind of 300-ish pages were just so gripping, and I just wanted so badly to know what was going to happen. And I didn't realise this, but there should be, and hopefully one day will be, a sequel to this. I thought it was standalone, but it's not, and it does end. I was happy with the ending personally, but there is enough there, more than enough there, for there to be a sequel to this, because the characters are left in places where there's so much left to be explored, and I hope that we do get that sequel, because again, I really loved this book. As I say, I do understand why people find it slow and boring. I just disagree. I was so engaged in this story the whole way through. I'm seriously impressed with it. I equal parts loved and hated our main titular characters. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this book, because there's so much to unpack, but I can't talk about any of it because it's all spoilers. So I'm going to leave it there. I have 3 more books to read for this reading challenge. I'm very conscious that this is now very long, but I loved this, and I'm so happy that it was recommended to me and sent to me and that I read it, because it was just fantastic. And yeah, I look forward to reading the other books, and I will check in with you again when I read the next one. Okay, it is several weeks, if not more than several weeks after the last clip you just saw. I took a bit of a break from this reading challenge for various reasons, most of them to do with my mental health, and I've just edited the footage for this vlog and it's already really long, so I'm actually going to call it here for this particular vlog and come back to the rest of the books in a future vlog if you're interested. So let me know in the comments if you're enjoying this, if you want me to read the other 3 books in a vlog. I'm happy to do that. I did start Black Leopard, Red Wolf and struggled with it a little bit. It's quite a weird writing style, and then I watched some reviews to help me try and get to grips with it and heard that it's really quite a dark, difficult read in a number of ways, and just from a mental health perspective I'm not in a good place to do that right now, so I put that one down, and then just the idea of reading the other 2 books was just getting on top of me a little bit, so I'm calling it here for now, but I will go back to those 3, and if you want me to I will vlog it. So by very, very brief summary, I started off with Wilder Girls by Rory Power, which I enjoyed. Didn't love the ending, but I did enjoy the book as a whole. The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh I unfortunately found boring and didn't engage me, and so I DNF'd it. And I also read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I absolutely loved, by Susanna Clarke. I already want to reread it. It's only, well, it's nearly June, but it's the end of May now. I already want to reread it. I loved it. It's a new favourite. Just, yeah, I've spoken enough about it. And the other 3 books that I received in this video were Blackwing by Ed MacDonald, Dragonheart by Peter Higgins, and Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. These 3 I have yet to read, but as I say, I'm calling this vlog here because it's already long enough. Hopefully you've enjoyed it anyway. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. I found it personally quite interesting looking at the change in my hair from when I started this video. This is what it looks like now. I started this video, I think it was in February, and it's now the end of May. So I said I think about halfway through the video that I needed a haircut, and that is still true. I still haven't had one. I've still got another like 3 weeks to go. Off topic. Standard. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Anyway, if you're still here at this point in the video, then leave me a bird emoji in the comments. And don't forget to check out Ponderful Books in the description, which has indeed launched since I started filming this particular video, and we have a number of different services available at the moment. And also, I don't think we've announced this yet on Instagram, but we will be shortly. If you order with us throughout the rest of May, which admittedly is nearly over, and June, then you will receive a free hot drink. So if you're ordering one of our parcels, you'll get an extra hot drink for free, and if you're ordering one of our book-only parcels or mystery book parcels, then you will receive a free hot drink with those as well. So head on over there. You don't need any code or anything, it's automatic. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks, bye!